There has a war been going on between men and women for thousands of years. And if we want to end this war, we each need to look at our unconscious behaviors, how we are contributing to this war. And at the moment, modern women are using anger as a weapon against men. But unfortunately, it's a war that you can't win, because if you destroy men, you're never going to be happy in relationships. So this is the topic I want to dive in today. But before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Veronica Meyer. I'm a life coach, and I specialize in helping people reconnecting to their emotions and in a compass, which leads them directly to the higher purpose. So traditionally in this war, how women have fought was very covertly. Because men had all the political, economic power, women had to use weapons that were not as obvious. So it was, for example, manipulative behavior, emotional blackmail, it was being really intense with their strong emotions, and of course also their sexuality. Those were the weapons they used in this war. Now things have changed a little bit because of the sexual revolution, because women have more power, which is amazing and wonderful, but unfortunately it has not really contributing between more peace between men and women. The war is still going on, it just has a different form now. And so the reason I want to talk about this today is that I really want to help us women to get out of this unconscious state, because if we want to end this war, each one of us has to contribute, and we have to stop being so unconscious with each other, and we have to stop punishing each other for the pain we feel. So when we talk about the angry woman, maybe you have realized that when you look around, many women today seem that they are constantly angry. For me, I grew up with a mother like that, who was very much angry at the world, but specifically angry at men, and I really inherited this. And now on my healing journey for a long time, I have to disengage from this feeling of anger towards men, because I basically, ate it with the breast milk, as they say. Do they say it like this in English? I'm not a native English speaker, but yeah, you know what I mean. So, and when I mean that women weaponize anger, is that, of course, this anger is like a repellent, towards actually men and towards connecting with men. Because if you're so angry, men don't want to be close with you. Because what men love about women, about the feminine, is, like the beauty, the calmness, the softness. And of course women also have sometimes strong emotions, and that can be also really attractive, because it's it's very very powerful and very strong and passionate. But that does not mean a constant state of suppressed anger and emotion, that it gets just like stuck in the system, and maybe it comes out in like little remarks and being like passive aggressive, or in general, kind of like always being a bit bitchy. That's not attractive, and that of course is not good for relationship peace and relationship health. So the question is, where does this anger come from? So both men and women have a lot of negative beliefs about the other sex, and I've never basically met a man or a woman that don't have these, and very often they are very subconscious. So most women believe that men are arrogant, selfish, they only care about themselves. If they have a family, that they kind of like don't really care about the children, that they want to always dominate, they always want to tell you what to do, mansplaining. That these are the usual beliefs from women. And of course some women even think that men are maybe like violent and even threaten women. And so where these beliefs come from is both from childhood, from parents, from the childhood environment, from peers, but also of course society at large. And at the moment, a big problem here is that feminism has become very toxic, and is basically enforcing this belief that men are to blame for the problems in the world, and of course also the relationship issues between men and women. It's all men. And so many women have this constant feeling of anger, and that they essentially feel like victims, that they are in this terrible world that has been created by men, and where they have created all these problems and now women have to deal with it. So this is part of it. Another part of this is obviously that many women have made bad experiences with men, you know, for example with absent fathers that weren't there for them, maybe with difficult relationships with their brothers or cousins. But then of course also some women have really been abused by men, and all this feeds into this. But as you can imagine, if you have personal trauma around men and then society constantly tells you that men are terrible and that they are to blame, it becomes basically a shit show, like for a better word. And so many women are in this state of constantly feeling that they are victims, men are the perpetrators, and that this is so freaking unfair, and that creates the state of perpetual anger. But as you can imagine, first of all, it's super unhealthy for relationships and for society, but also for women. And I know, because I used to be an angry woman. I used to call myself like, you know, a feminist, flying the flags, and I really used to believe that men were to blame, and I was exactly like that. I had, you know, some bad experiences about my dad, nothing major, but just, you know, that he was not always able to see me, to emotionally connect with me. Then, yeah, as I said, I was influenced by my mother, and then in university I had a lot of friends that were into feminism, and so I was just putting these glasses on and literally interpreting the world around me only through these belief systems. And that's what we have to understand about beliefs, is that they literally shape your reality, and you can interpret an event that has nothing to do, you know, with men being the bad guys, with sexism. You can interpret it exactly as that. And you basically would live in a totally different reality than another person who doesn't have these beliefs, and that's very important. But the thing is, we have to get out of these unconscious things, out of this unconscious state. But as mentioned, I'm not saying at all that you should not recognize your trauma. So in my case, for example, I did a lot of healing around my abandonment wounds, which came a lot from my dad. And I was healing my relationship with the masculine, which was so important. I was learning how to connect with people. I changed my energy so that I would attract a man who was different than my dad, and who would fulfill my emotional needs and would even enjoy it. My husband, Matt, now we have a beautiful relationship. And actually something in me was longing to have a better relationship with the masculine, because the masculine is nothing terrible. It's a beautiful force that, you know, it's just the opposite femininity, and there's a reason why men and women attract each other and why they love each other so much. It's because they are the opposite, and it's something so beautiful when both of them come together. So I really encourage you to take this video as inspiration to challenge a little bit your beliefs around why you are angry, and look a little bit deeper and just ask yourself these questions. What will happen if I'm angry, you know, until the end of my life? What will happen with my relationships? What will happen with society? And how would it feel if I could let go of this anger? And the thing is also that I'm actually a big proponent of conscious anger work. That was also part of my healing journey, and I have great videos that you can watch. I have a follow-along anger release video. I have a video where I explain with my husband Matt how we do conscious anger release and the purpose and benefits of it. And I also have a video about the hidden cost of suppressed anger. So you can work with this anger, and you can actually free it, so that when there's really a situation that angers you, that you can use it to set your boundaries, but also that you can feel your personal power and your personal strength. But it should not be something that completely disconnects you from other people, and especially men, and actually robs you from the possibility to having a beautiful, mutually satisfying and just amazing relationship for yourself. So I hope that this video helped you to understand why there seems to be this phenomenon that so many women today are angry. And I also wanted to invite you that I have a really cool online course where I go a little bit deeper into releasing stuck emotions. It's called The Warrior's Cry, and you can access it on my website. The link is just below. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.